Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Energize Your Online Business podcast. Hey there, Kate.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Okay, guys, today we are going to talk about hiring. Now, we actually already did another episode about kind of how to hire or the process that will make hiring so much easier. So we will definitely include the link in the show notes because these two pair very, very nicely together. But what we're going to talk about today is the order in which to hire people. And this is, we're not just going to talk about the people, we're also going to talk about not even really theory, but the strategy behind which people and when and that kind of thing. So if you are listening and you're a solopreneur, you have not yet hired your first person, absolutely still keep listening. And if you are someone who already has a decent sized team, there are also going to be things in here that that will benefit you as well. So whoever you are, if you have a business, stick around because we have something for you. So probably the first thing to talk about is the concept of when do I hire someone, right? The when does it make sense? When is it going to? And I know that it can feel a little bit like shots in the dark, because a lot of us think, all right, well, I have to make the money first before I hire the person because I have to have the money in order to hire them. And I certainly understand that. And I have tried to do that. I think every time before I have hired someone, I thought, all right, well, if I put in the work now and I work extra hard now, then I'll make enough money to cover this person's, and whether it's salary or whether it is salary, a little bit different, but or whether it's their freelance rate, that kind of thing. I have tried to do that and I have failed at it each time, which is not to say that if you have no way to make any kind of income, if you're not selling anything yet, if you have no system for selling anything, then yeah, you might want to wait until you're actually selling things before if you have no plan at all to earn any income, maybe don't yet start hiring someone. But once you have a plan, if you're like, all right, I have my course, I'm going to start selling it at this date, you can even start thinking at that point about what team members are you going to bring on.
Yeah, and I think the other big thing is to think about it sooner than you think you need to. So I think honestly, even now, if to Nikki's point, if you're need to focus on selling first, thinking about who you would bring on at this point is smart so that you can have an idea once that money starts coming in to be able to find this person, this individual that you need. And the reason we say this, I think we've run into this a few times where I know for me, and you, Nikki, like your plates get overloaded and you get to this place where it then becomes so hard to even want to go through the hiring process because you're like, this is another thing to my task list. And my task list is already chock full of things. Where am I going to find the time to put together a test and the job description and post the job description and go through the applicants and find the ones that I even want to do a screening and then bring on for the next stages of the hiring process. And so it becomes, well, I'll just do that because this is a 5-minute task. This is an easy task. I can just do it and it's so much faster. And then I have to train them once they come on and make sure they know what they do and they have all the materials they need and they understand my business. And it becomes like I feel my stress rate going up just thinking about it. Like, yeah, I'll just do all of that because it's so much easier. And I think the trap is it's easier in the short term. It's not in the long term. It's not even easier in the short term in some ways because your plate is just so loaded and you need space to be able to think of and work on the things that only you can do. If there's things on your plate that someone else can do and can do at a cheaper rate than you, then why wouldn't you look to hire?
Exactly. The prevailing thought, and it makes sense. It makes sense from a non-business owner perspective. For just your average human being, it makes sense to think, okay, well, I'm going to get to the next level of income, of revenue, and then I'm going to be able to hire this person. But the truth is that you need that person in order to get to the next level of revenue. You have gotten to where you could on your own. And you need that resource in there to help you get to that next level. It's not revenue first and then you hire that person. That person helps you get to that level of revenue. And that, I think, is the thing that a lot of people have a little bit of trouble wrapping their minds around, because in your average consumer lifestyle, setting credit cards and all that kind of stuff aside, it's, oh, I'm going to save up for this and then I buy it. And so we try to take that into business and think, okay, I'm going to kind of save up for this next associate by just doing more work here. But you've done what you could do on your own. Now you need that next person to give you the bandwidth, whether that is actual time, or whether that is more income, or whether that is more energy, to get you to that next level. So I want to make sure that people understand that those are two. It's a kind of a counterintuitive thing, but is absolutely true when it comes to business.
Yeah. And related to the talking about numbers, essentially, to put a number to your time so that you're not just, I'm working this many hours a week, or even maybe you don't even know how many hours a week you're working. You're just always on and working. And so I think taking a real look, doing an audit of your time and saying, okay, for the next week and a half, 2 weeks, I'm going to look at exactly what I'm doing and where I'm doing that work, and putting, is it $150 an hour? Is it $200 an hour? Like, what is your hourly rate if you're going to put an hourly rate to your time, so that you really have a good sense of how much money you're spending on yourself and your time.
Well, and when you're a solopreneur, it can be a lot easier to figure this out. If you're like, all right, I'm making roughly $300,000 a year, and you work usually 40 hours a week, then you do the math there. I know that sometimes if we already have teams, we think, all right, well, I made 900,000 last year, but I also have 2 other people on my team. Yeah, it's a little bit more of a gray area. Or maybe you think, all right, well, if I didn't exist, this wouldn't exist. So what are my numbers based on that 900,000? Or if you think, my team takes 50% of the work off my plate, it doesn't have to be a perfect exact number. So you're not going, well, my time is worth $500 an hour, so I'm not going to pay someone X amount. But the point is that when you have a good idea of what your time is actually worth, it makes it a little bit easier to understand, okay, if I hire someone to do this role that I don't have to do anymore, yes, I'm now paying someone to do that, but my time is worth X amount more, and I'm going to be able to spend more time doing these high value tasks as well. I mean, and that's true, quite frankly, too. And we won't get too much into personal life, but when you're outsourcing personal life things too, I think one of the first things a lot of business owners pay for, maybe childcare as well, but it is house cleaners. Right. If you are mostly in charge of cleaning your own house, I live alone, so would be me completely in charge of it. It makes a lot of sense for me to pay these wonderful, wonderful women to come in and clean my home for me, because then I'm able to take that time and do high impact things on the business versus spending that time cleaning my house. And it's either high impact stuff in the business or resting on the weekends, because I need that for my business as well. Anyway, the point is having an idea of how much your time is worth to your business, which, by the way, is only going to increase as you go. But having that idea is makes it a little bit easier for you to figure out when and how and to whom it makes sense to outsource certain activities. Yeah. And then another thing, we'll get a little bit into strategy before we start talking about the who. But as you're looking, especially when you're doing everything, when you are a solopreneur, but look at all of the tasks that are on your plate. And again, when you're a solopreneur, it's everything that's on your plate. But when you have team members, it's certainly less. But there's still, as we all know, a ton of stuff on your plate. The first place to start as you think about hiring new team members is to think, what is on your plate? What is on your plate that is in your zone of genius, right? What do you enjoy doing, and what are you exceptionally good at? Not just pretty good at, but exceptionally good at. Nobody on your team does it as well as you do. And if you were to hire, you'd have to pay top dollar because you are so flippin' good at it. And then, of course, then you get into the, all right, I kind of like this and I'm pretty good at it. Okay, great. Then you get into the, well, I don't like doing this, but I'm good at it, right? Because then we move into the like, oh, yeah, I can do it, I'm good at it, but I don't like doing it. And then you get into the, I'm not very good at this and I don't like doing it. And no matter where you are in owning a business, there are going to be things that fall into all of those categories.
Or even the category of, this is super fun,
but
I don't need to be the one to be doing it. Like, I like doing this, but I could easily have someone for $20 an hour doing it just as well.
Exactly. And you're balancing out as well, because you certainly don't want to take all of the fun off of your
fun.
No fun for you. You own a business and that's serious work. But yeah, if it's getting in the way of maybe other fun things you do that are more high impact, then that's something to figure out. Or maybe it takes up less time, or maybe you outsource some of it. But as you're looking at these things, maybe not obvious. The first place to start is the stuff that you hate and that you're not especially good at. That is the very first stuff to get off your plate. And then you kind of want to work your way up. Then you get into the stuff that you don't really like, but you're good at it. Okay. Yes, you're good at it. But if you don't really like it, that means it drains your energy. And especially as business owners, our energy is a finite resource, and it is an incredibly valuable resource, and you have to treat it as such. So if you're looking at something that you don't really like, it drains your energy, but you're good at it, that's the next thing to offload as well.
Yeah. And I think as you bring people on your team, to have your team members do this as well. And I know our team does that, quarterly basis, if not more often, of just doing that time audit and doing for a week and a half, 2 weeks, looking at all of the tasks that we're doing and which ones are draining our energy, which ones are maybe not in our zone of genius. For me, am I doing tasks that aren't actually marketing related that could be done by someone else on the team? Are there things that are just ending up on my plate because we just threw it there and didn't consider why? Or, am I not doing a judicious job of delegating to folks that I could be delegating to? And so I think having, as you add team members, that this process should continue, because the worst thing that can happen is that one of your team members then gets to a place where they're completely overloaded. They are riding fast on the train to Burnout Central, and you don't know about it, or they maybe don't even realize it. And it's because it's so easy. We do it every year. There are more tasks. There's more projects to do. There's more fun things we want to tackle. There's more. There's just always more. There's always more to do. And so suddenly, I feel like you can easily look up and think, oh my gosh, like how did my schedule get to be this point? And that's kind of obviously the point of where you get back to, of like, oh, now we have to hire someone, but we don't have the time to hire someone. And so avoiding that trap by doing this on a regular basis, so that you can start to identify what might be some of the areas we might need help down the line. I know for our team, for a very long time, we have a wonderful virtual assistant we work with. And for a while we've thought, okay, do we need another kind of assistant in that role that can pitch in for all that's more, working on our hours? And we haven't done it yet, but we know, and we keep like adding tasks to that list of like, okay, if we were to ever go down this route and hire this person, here's some of the tasks that we'd want to offload and that they would do. And so we're kind of prepared in the meantime. I think once that list hits a certain threshold and we're like, oh yeah, now this is a full role now, we can say, okay, great, let's do that. But we're keeping an eye on what those tasks are, what all of our pain points are, and where the overlap is too for our team. Is it someone that would, work kind of across departments? Or is it someone, for a while we went down the route of feeling like we needed a marketing assistant. And then we realized, oh no, we need these very specific roles, and working with freelancers was a much, much smarter choice. And so I think keeping an eye on all of that will help that aspect too, not just your team and keeping your team happy, but then identifying kind of who you actually need, because you might not need the role that you think you need right away, if without looking at what are the actual tasks that you need to offload, and who are they going to, and can they all go to that one individual, or do you need multiple individuals for 5 hours a week here, 10 hours a week, or whatever the amount is.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up, because I think probably we'll just by default for ease we'll talk about taking things off your plate, but you're completely right, Kate. It's the first level, right? Is once it's you, then you get team members underneath you, but we are at a third tier, right? Because we have people report to you, people report to Caitlin. We have a third tier there, and probably not probably, eventually we'll get to a fourth, and there may be people who are just still at that first and second tier, and there may be people listening or watching who are in that third and fourth tier. But it applies the same thing, the breaking out the 4 or 5 groups of exceptional at and really good at, pretty much like it, don't like it all that much, but good at, and really can't stand it, really not good at. And then also to that kind of fifth floating category of, I like it. This is fun. Could somebody else do this? Yeah, but I really like it still. But so having everybody in your team understand that, and then working backwards from the I don't like it, I hate it. That's the first to go. The I don't like it, it drains me, but I'm pretty good at. Next thing to go, even up into the ideal scenario. And I say ideal, knowing that perfection is impossible. I don't think
what
any
do you mean?
business, yes,
Excuse
except
me.
for you, Kate. Kate is perfect, but in this, what we're talking about here in business, yes, the ideal scenario would be that you and every single person on your team spend all of your time in the I like this and I'm really, really great at this category. That's the ideal we want to be heading toward, but to actually experience that every day. I mean, quite frankly, to even experience that for a full day does not happen all that often. But that's where we're heading toward, right? That everybody on your team is working in their zone of genius, and they're not doing anything else that is energy draining, or that is something that they are not good at. Maybe that's even the first thing to think about as team members, is make sure it's not something they're not good at it. We're heading that direction. We're not going to get to there. We're not going to get to that perfect point, but that's the direction that we're heading in. So as we're thinking about energy draining, and I really, really want people to think about that a lot, because I think it's easy to think in terms of like, well, this takes up time. But I really want you to notice what is draining your energy, because there are a lot of things that drain your energy, but that are also relatively easy, that entrepreneurs hang on to for a lot longer than they should, because it's so easy. And the first thing that pops to mind, and I see this in successful business owners a lot still, the first thing that pops into mind is customer service and comments on social posts, and especially comments on social ads. And I think, and I'm not even saying, well, if you're listening and you're like, well, I don't answer customer service anymore. Like, come on. But if you are still regularly seeing customer service, that is something that you need to, at least if you're not ready now, have an eye toward getting that off your plate completely in the future. Because yes, you do need to be aware of what's going on with customer service, right? If people are sending in the same question again and again, ooh, good opportunity, we need to address this. Or maybe this is something that we need to add to the program. Or maybe we're targeting the wrong people, because the people who are writing in are not the right people for this message. And yes, you also get the people who are writing in and being like, oh my gosh, I love what you do. And that's great. But the way that human beings work is that when we get negative feedback, we take that, so we give that so much more weight than the positive feedback. So you could, in the same session of logging into customer service, you could get a glowing email from someone who's like, you are amazing. Your whole program is amazing. You changed my life. I will always be grateful for you. And that will make you feel so good. And then it should, and save that, because then you will also get an email being like, who are you to offer this product for this much money? How dare you try to sell me this product? You should be giving this away for free. You're a fraud, but whatever, all the absurd stuff that comes through. And what are you going to hang on to? Are you going to hang on to this person who said that you changed their life and they're always going to remember you? Or are you going to spend the rest of your day thinking about the person who said that you're a fraud and how dare you charge for this? And we already know the answer, right? Because we've all been there. We've gotten great feedback, and we've hung on to the terrible feedback. And I don't know about you guys, and we get it on all of our brands. I also know for a fact that all of our brands are excellent, and we literally do change lives for the better.
Well, we literally get emails that say that.
Yes. But there are just always disgruntled people
Yeah.
out there, and people who are not with it, and will send through and have the time to send through emails, or the best way that the way that they deal with their unhappiness is to send it out into the universe. And unfortunately, sometimes that repository is us. But getting negative feedback will knock me off my game for the rest of the day. I will have trouble focusing. I will have trouble getting work done. I will have that. It's terrible, but it's true. And I know that the vast majority of other business owners are the same way. And also same thing with like comments on Facebook ads or on Instagram ads. Like the people who take the time, thank you to anybody who comments on our stuff or anybody else's stuff, right? Like if you like stuff on, you see an ad, comment something positive, right? Like comments, because people are reading that. Comment something positive. Or if you've used something and you liked it, comment on it. Let people know. Take 30 seconds. But the people who comment on ads, comment negative things, or or just not helpful things. Sometimes but comment just that don't make any sense. They have no experience with you. They haven't even used your product, or they opted in, but they didn't understand it, or we all know this, right? And it's always in the middle of the night too, right? It's the trolling. It is feedback from a stranger that you will never meet, who had no business being on your list or interacting with you in the first place. The stranger. But we get this feedback and it sticks with us. And as business owners, that is not something we have time for. So I apologize. This is a little bit of a long preamble, but you need to get this off your plate as soon as possible. And not just the directly checking and responding to ads, and directly checking and responding to customer service and all of that kind of thing. But as soon as possible, get that off your plate immediately. You want someone else, and you want to train them well so they understand how to explain. But of course, sometimes there will be things that they need to escalate or things that they have questions. As soon as you can, you also want someone to be managing them, so that almost nothing from customer service land gets to you. You need to, unless it's that person. For us, it's our operations manager, Caitlin. She well, I guess it's actually you kind of too, Kate, as well, because social media. Anyway, not kind of, definitely you as well. But thank you both. Thank you so much. I'm in a protected bubble. And also too, because yes, you care about this company. You have passion for what we do and you care, but you don't take things as deeply as I do.
Yeah.
When you do, but not to the depth
yeah.
that I do. Exactly. So you guys keep me in a protect. You may say like, oh, we've gotten a little feedback about this, something, but you're not forwarding me emails. You're not copying comments on posts. I am separated from that. And it has had such a tremendous impact on my ability to do my job and to drive the business forward. And I know that there's so many business owners who either stay in customer service, and I'll say customer service, and I mean, when I say customer service, I mean commenting on and checking the ads comments and all that kind of thing. But just to know that it all kind of in the same grouping. There's so many business owners who keep doing that stuff because it's easy and they could do it quickly in between projects. And then I have to hire someone, and I have to, like you were saying earlier, I have to hire someone, I have to train them all up, I have to teach them what to do in each of these scenarios. I also have to give them the discernment. Should they just delete the ads that are just absurd and not based in reality, or should they try to? Yeah, absolutely. I understand that. You need to get the stuff off your plate. And then again, I also know a lot of business owners who are like, well, I absolutely have someone dealing with customer service, and they deal with this stuff, but the problems get elevated to me. And that's great. But essentially what you've done is you've only outsourced the easy stuff to customer service. You're still dealing with the hard stuff. So until you can get someone in between the two of you, you need to have very specific procedures for exactly what to do in just about every single scenario you can possibly think of. Somebody writes in, they want a refund in this scenario. Somebody wants a refund in this scenario. All of the difficulties, take some time and think it all out. So as much as possible, they can do it. And then again, as soon as it makes sense within your business, have customer service and comments and all that, report to someone else. You need to build yourself a bubble.
And I think with a lot of these things, I feel like there's that resistance that might crop up of like, yeah, but like, how else am I going to know what people are saying on my ads? How else am I going to have a pulse on what people are writing in? And I think this goes back, and again, we're linking the episode, listen to it, in terms of hiring the right person. If you have the right person, they should be able to come to you. They have customer service experience. They are the experts in customer service. They should be able to come to you with ideas and strategies for how they can go about doing this and how they can go about sharing information with you in a way that strips it of the very, very emotionally driven language of people's ad comments, and give you the information you need of, hey, we've had, I've noticed an increase in people who are unsure why they're seeing this ad.
Yes.
Great. Or we've seen an increase in people who are writing in and asking about this. Great. That's the information you need. You need the information that can go help you say, okay, what do I think the problem is here? Okay, what do I think the right solution is here? And you don't have to sort through that very intense language that people tend to write in with when they are frustrated or upset or unsure or whatever. You don't need that. You don't need any of that. That's not helpful information by any means. And I think the other thing, especially with customer service, is a lot of these people might not be your like you don't want to work with those people that are just genuinely not happy humans. And so I think noticing when that crops up of like kind of the yeah buts, like, yeah, but I can't do this because this. Okay,
Yes.
well, let's dig into that. Yeah, but what, okay, I still need this information. Is there another way to go about getting what I need, and not letting those yeah buts get in the way of what you really need and need to do to grow the business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that yeah, but is a really great way to put it, because as you move, yes, all right. So you're probably on board with the idea that if you hate something and you're not even all that good at it, you got to get it off your plate, right? But as you move up this ladder, and once we get past, it's a little bit hard to know specifically for you, the listener or the viewer, what falls in each category. But I know that there are going to be things that fall in the category where you go, oh, this is kind of draining. Yeah, but I'm pretty good at it. Also, I'm the expert at this.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, I have to be the one to do that. There is stuff in all of our businesses that falls into this category. I think you guys know we have a multi-brand company, and the first company is our copywriting training program for people who want to become professional copywriters. And the program offers coaching on copywriting in the Facebook group. And, people do exercises and they practice their copywriting skills so that by the time they're out in the world and looking for clients, business owners like you guys, they're excellent. They're tip top. So they're doing a lot of practicing and incorporating feedback and just honing their skills. And part of the way they do that is in the Facebook group. So when I started the business, I was the person in the Facebook group giving feedback every day and giving, giving feedback on the same exercises, because there will always be new people getting started. And to them, each exercise was brand new. But to me, I'd seen it a dozen, 100, 300 times. So giving feedback on that, I found was very draining. And for a lot of that, I was thinking, well, but I'm the one who knows the exercises. I'm the one, I'm an expert at copywriting. Like, well, how am I? Yeah, I can take customer service off my plate, but I need to be in the one coaching in the group, giving these people the feedback that they need in order to improve their skills. And again, this is that concept of like, I'm kind of drained by it. Yeah, like, yeah, I'm good at it, but it's draining but I'm the expert. And what I can tell you is that even if you are the expert, there is someone, and it might take you a little time to find them, but there's someone or multiple people that you can train up to get to. It does not have to be your 100% level of expertise, to get them to 85%, to get them to the point where they can handle the vast majority of it. Maybe they might still say, oh, I had a question about this, but also as they learn from you, they're going to get better and better too. They learn from you, then they get to 90%, they get to 95%. And actually the little company history, the first person that I brought in was Kate. I brought Kate in to be a coach in the Facebook group so that I could be out of that. And then of course, as the course got bigger and bigger, we took Kate out of it and we started training up, she started training up students to become coaches. And now our coaching team is just
Phenomenal.
excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. And we've done the same thing in CSS as well. Previously, it was just me in there giving feedback every day. And while that was very useful, and it was very draining for me to have to be in there every day and make sure that everything was answered
Including
myself.
on vacation.
Including on vacation. Yeah, which is we do not advocate
Not sustainable.
for.
Yeah.
No, it's not sustainable. So we have taken some of our expert level copywriters and trained them up in the specific circuit sales system techniques to make sure that they can give excellent copy feedback. And of course, I still give the business feedback and we still have our coaching calls that I'm on. But they help take that off my plate. And yes, am I the CSS expert? Yes, absolutely. Will I always probably be the absolute number one expert?
Yeah, you built it.
I built it. I created the system. Yes. But have we trained up copywriters that are excellent and can give excellent copy feedback? Yes. And will we probably eventually bring in coaches who are, maybe they're not 100% as 100% as perfect as I am at CSS, but who are at that tip top level? Sure. But we'll get them to 85, 90%, and they're still bringing a ton of value. So that is one of those buts. Well, but I have to do it because I'm the expert at it. You may be the expert at it. It still does not mean that you need to be doing it. There are people out there who make excellent coaches and that you can train. And it may take a little bit of time to find them. The people that we have on both of our coaching teams, the student coaches in the copywriting Facebook group and our copywriting expert coaches in CSS, these are really smart people. And it did take us some time to find them and to make sure that they were at the level and ready. But worth it. So very, very worth it. And think of all the additional value that they offer all of our students, all the additional perspectives. It takes stuff off of my plate as the business owner, but it also gives so much more value to the students versus just getting my perspective.
Well, I think the other thing, and my husband's going to laugh as I say this, if he listens to this, but I think it's not even, I think, yes, getting them 85 to 90% of the way there. But on top of that, I think it's just people have a different way of doing what it is that you do, right? So I'm thinking of like how we both load the dishwasher. Like, do I think it's the most effective way, the way he does it? No. But does it get done in the same result as how I do it? Yes. Like the dishes are clean in the end. So does it really matter how we got there? And so I think that's a lot of this with the process of like, there were often times as I, phased out of coaching in the Facebook group for our copywriting program, the coaches were phenomenal, but they were seeing things. I was like, oh, that's not what I would have said, but that's still valid. So great. This person's getting great feedback on their work. And it's maybe, focusing on something that I wouldn't have focused as much on, but it's still necessary and it's still valid feedback. And so I think looking at that too and letting go of, well, my way is the best way. Well, maybe it's the best way, but it's not the only way. And it's not the only way to the end result. And it's not the only way forward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then like we were saying, you're just working your way up. You're going to get to, as you outsource all of these things, you're going to get to the point where it's stuff that you pretty much like and you're pretty good at. But if it's not the stuff that you really like or ideally you are exceptional at, it's also something that is an opportunity for you to outsource it. Because if you're pretty good at it and you pretty much like it, there's somebody out there who is exceptional at it. And they will do it so much better than you could, even though you're pretty good at it. Maybe you're like B+, even A-. There's somebody out there that you could bring onto the team who would take this off of your plate and they would do it at A or A+. And that is an opportunity. And that's the kind of the step of as we grow from solopreneur to a small team. It's the getting to the bigger team where you're starting to even take your hands off stuff that you're pretty darn good at it. But that is how you get to a team that runs super efficiently, that runs like clockwork, that everyone also is certainly nobody's happy all the time, but everyone for the most part is either happy or content or pleased with the challenges that they have, because as much as possible they're working on stuff that they enjoy, and that they not just enjoy, but they enjoy the kinds of challenges that they're working on, right? Because that's the key. Everything that we do in business, every project that we have to work on usually is a challenge, even if it's a design, which some of us are like, wow, I can make pictures all day, and not at all, because that is tough work. But it's a challenge. It's still like, all right, create a landing page that does XYZ and also incorporates this. That's a challenge. Now, it might be a fun challenge, but that's for the right person. It's going to be a fun challenge, and working on that makes them happy and makes them want to stay on your team, because they're working on things that are in their zone of genius for most of the time. And it's the same thing with us. Our businesses can be draining. It is a challenge to run a business. It is already a challenge to run a business without you working on all kinds of stuff that drain your time, that don't have a big impact, and that drain your energy.
Don't let you take a vacation.
Yes, don't let you take a vacation. Exactly. We don't have the luxury of throwing away our energy on things that aren't. We need to be working in our zone of genius. That is where our energy needs to be going as much as possible. So you are doing a disservice to both your business, not even just both. You're doing a disservice to your business. You're doing a disservice to all of your team members. And you're doing a disservice to your clients, customers, students, if you are dissipating your energy on all kinds of other things outside of your zone of genius. So like we said, the almost always 99% of the time, the first thing that business owners need to get off their plate is the customer service, is yeah. But then of course, it's going to, like we were saying earlier, it's going to be different as you go up that path of what am I good at? What am I not good at? What do I like to do? What do I not like to do? It's going to be different for each person as you go up. For me, it was one of the first things that I needed help with was more marketing stuff. I'm good at marketing, but we had so much to do that I needed Kate and Kate to move from being a coach in our copywriting program to becoming our marketing member. Kate from marketing, our marketing manager. Kate is marketing. And then, of course, now she has team members that report to her. And so you're going to have to evaluate as you go what needs to come off your plate and what needs to come off next. And once Kate was solid in her role, which was very quick, then between the both of us, we said, all right, we need help with operations. We're moving so quickly. We need someone to come in and put together systems. We need someone to come in and make sure that as we're moving quickly, that we're doing it smoothly, because that is not how Kate and our minds work. You and I are very
still don't
similar.
know how we operated for however long we did without
like to-do lists and Word documents.
Literally, yeah. No, pen and paper to-do lists. Like,
fascinating.
Amazing,
yeah,
but
the
so much better.
Yes, thank goodness. We brought Kate, you brought Caitlin in, and her brain works so differently, and it is a beautiful thing to behold, because it is not the way that Kate and I operate. And she comes in and she makes things smooth. And yes, we were moving so quickly, but we slowed down to bring Caitlin on board. And now the speed at which we work is I was going to say breakneck, but that makes it sound negative. We move at an incredibly fast clip. And we also, I would say it is very rare that we make mistakes. That something like, that was obviously we try to have as few mistakes as possible, but to move at the speed that we are moving and to make as few mistakes as we do is a credit to Caitlin, and then also to the full team communicating well.
Mm-hmm.
But all of this, all of the people that we brought on, and yeah, there have been a few missteps. That's life. But
we'll link to that too. We talked about those missteps.
Exactly. Yeah. And nothing wrong with those people, just weren't the right fit. but each one has been a deliberate choice to take back time and or energy so that each person could be spending more time working in their zone of genius. Because when everyone is heading in that direction, the business moves faster, smoother, and better work is done. So there is no, again, like almost always customer service first. But after that, there is no perfect plan of, okay, once you have a customer, then you have to hire this person, and then you have to hire this person. And then there is no perfect, because it's going to depend on you, and it's going to depend on your skills and your talents and what you want to spend your time doing. But like I have a friend who owns a multi-7-figure per year company, and she teaches design and surface pattern design and just all kinds of cool stuff. And she still does a lot of her own design for like landing pages or that kind of thing. Now she has a cadre of designers that she could be working on, but she still finds that spending a little time in doing design feeds her soul. She needs to be spending, and she doesn't spend a ton of time. She's not the designer, but she spends a couple hours each week doing the design, because that feeds her soul and it keeps her in touch. And it also lets it, when she's doing the design, it lets the other business stuff either percolate. Sometimes she'll get other ideas, or it lets her relax a little bit. So you do want to keep that factored in. But at the same time, too, like I said, it's something she likes, like to your point, Kate. But at the same time, too, also to your point, good points, Kate, it's not something that takes up all of her time. She is very judicious about how much time she spends doing that. So we all have to be judicious with our time. There's only one us, and all of the members of our team are incredibly, incredibly valuable. But first, if you don't take care of yourself, nobody else will. It is your job to take care of yourself. And then as you get team members, it is also your job to take care of your team members, to check in regularly with your Kates, your Caitlins, all of your team members, to make sure the people, I should say, that report to you. And it will be their job to check in with the people who report to them, to make sure that they are feeling good, that they are working on things that are within their zone of genius, that they are not feeling overloaded, and that they are not, it's not going to be perfect. Everybody's energy is going to be drained by some projects, but that they're not feeling their energy or the time drained by most of it. It is not a perfect process. It is constantly tweaking the recipe, and constantly, and as your company grows and as people develop, you're going to be taking things off plates, putting things on plates, bringing new people on the team, maybe sometimes saying, oh, you know what, actually we don't need this role anymore. It is a constantly tweaking process, but that is, doing it deliberately is how your business grows, how you continue to enjoy yourself within your business, and how your team members continue to enjoy themselves and want to stay with your business. And then that gives your business a great deal of stability as well. So lots of stuff to think about. I know. I feel like I'm starting to say that at the end of episode. Well, that's good. I guess that's good, right? Give you a lot of stuff to think about. But maybe I'll think of something else to say at the end of every episode. But that said, wink, wink, a lot of stuff to think about. Okay, so with that, we will catch you guys in the next episode. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Do you want to learn how to sell and scale your offer on autopilot every single day without the chaos of live launching or the low conversions of Evergreen? Who doesn't, right? Get our free on-demand video training at circuitsalessystem.com/free. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel to make sure you never miss a video. We'll catch you next time.